When we think of government decision-making, we often imagine a single powerful leader, say the president, sitting in a room and weighing all the options like a chess master. But in reality, most political decisions, especially in times of crisis, aren't made by individuals alone. They're shaped by the bureaucracies that carry them out. I'm Professor Hellstrom, and in this video we look at the organizational process model, a theory that shows how much what governments do depends not on one rational actor, but on the routines and protocols of large, complex organizations. The organizational process model was developed by Graham Allison in Essence of Decision, a classic book that any political science wonk should be reading, through his study of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Allison argued that the rational actor model, which we have covered in a different video, misses many real-world facts, such as why the Soviets failed to camouflage their missile sites until U-2 flights already revealed them. Allison drew on the work of James March and Herbert Simon, showing that existing governmental bureaucracy places practical limits on what a state can actually do, and often ends up dictating the outcome. He outlined several key propositions. In a crisis, government leaders don't view the problem as a whole, but break it into parts and assign these parts to different bureaucratic entities. Because time and resources are limited, decision makers tend to settle on the first acceptable solution, Simon's concept of satisficing. We have covered that in a previous video as well, rather than exhaustively evaluating all options. They tend to favor options that limit short-term uncertainty, so risk avoidance, even at the expense of long-term effectiveness. We've covered risk avoidance too. Organizations act through established repertoires and procedures, and because it takes massive resources and time to plan large-scale operations, leaders are often confined to pre-existing plans rather than new ones. Allison puts these ideas to work when analyzing how the US responded to the Cuban crisis. The Soviets underestimated the effectiveness of the US intelligence gathering system, which uncovered the missile sites, and failed to anticipate the severity of the US response. Furthermore, local commanders made independent and escalatory decisions, such as shooting down a U-2 plane without direct Kremlin authorization. On the US side, Kennedy and his advisors never seriously entertained dozens of potential strategies. Their discussions hovered primarily between airstrikes and a naval blockade, though the Army had suggestions too. The Air Force suggested precision airstrikes to take out the missile sites, not because they were the best suited for the moment, but because that's what their standard operating procedure prioritizes. It's what the Air Force is trained for. What their planning infrastructure supported, and what they were institutionally geared to execute at short notice. Like, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's true for all the different organizations here. The Navy, by contrast, proposed a blockade, which was not only the most logistically feasible option within their domain, but also happened to be the option with a fully fleshed out implementation plan already in place. In the end, Kennedy gravitated towards the blockade, not because it was unquestionably the best choice, but because it was the most manageable with the existing bureaucratic machinery. This model is especially good at explaining why bureaucratic inertia is common and why political leaders often appear constrained by the system. Governments aren't necessarily making fresh choices. They're often defaulting to what the system already knows how to do. However, a key limitation of the model is that it doesn't tell us when or how organizations might break free from these routines to try something new. Innovation, leadership, and moments of genuine strategic transformation are harder to capture through this lens. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe, hit the bell. You can support the channel via Patreon or Ko-fi, book a one-on-one tutoring session with me through SuperProf, or join our school community where you can ask questions and get feedback directly for free. Thanks for watching.